Cool guys, welcome to 2019 and the new season of SPOTLiGHT. This season of SPOTLiGHT, we're going to do things a little bit differently. We are going to visit music producers, engineers and musicians in their own studios and environments that they work in. So for our first episode of 2019, we are lucky enough to be in Mark Beling's studio. Mark, thanks so much for allowing us into your workplace.
No, thank you for actually allowing me on your show.
Oh, no, man. It's a pleasure. Mark has been in the music industry for quite a while, as we'll hear just now, being the singer of quite a couple of bands, quite a couple of successful bands. He's been involved in music production, recording. He's a fantastic guitar player. And so Mark, let's start at the beginning. How did you get into music?
Well, growing up in a musical family, we all just played. My brother, my sister, myself started off playing just weddings and that kind of stuff, as kids. And then after school, I still had the joy of going to doing national service, which was...
You don't look that old.
Is it? Thanks.
What's national service?
National service.
That's the army.
Yeah. I was just going to be... so I mean, and I was fortunate enough to play in the band over there as well. So I didn't have to go... I had to do my basic stuff, and get fit and the stuff they make you do. And from there, I was just playing music for the rest of my time there. And when I came on past, I met Dave DeLange, another guy that you might know. And we started a band, two-piece, and his brother Daryl would twinkle along on keyboards, and he would just know one song for the night. He'd sit and smoke at the bar and drink, and then we'd call him up for his one song or his two songs, and he'd come and play. And his pay for the night was a pack of cigarettes. That was it. And then, and then we became casual culture, and then it wasn't too long, and we started doing the circuit, which was you'd play like different holiday inns and different hotels all around the country for like a 3-month stint where you'd play 6 nights a week.
Oh yeah.
That kind of stuff as a resident band, which was awesome because, I mean, you learn to play. And
you also then stay at the hotel.
You stay at the hotel.
Get food there.
Yeah, you get lots of stuff there.
Yeah.
And, it's a great, I think that's a great way to force you to become a better musician, because you literally have to be playing music all the time.
And that's all you do.
That's all you do.
Gig every night and chill by the pool every day.
Yeah, most days.
That's the life.
Because if you don't have a hangover when you're much younger, you tend to do things differently to what you did these days.
Yeah.
And so I mean, and then in '95 we moved up to Joburg and got signed by David Gresham. And he insisted we change the name, and then we sat around and came up with the name Mean Mr. Mustard. And that was how that band got formed. And they went for a couple of years, and things just kind of took off. We were very lucky because, I mean, at that point we still had a lot of venues to play at, because if you look around now for the live music scene, there's not much happening. So the guys that are starting out now have got a much harder
time. Competition is much fiercer.
100%.
Less venues.
And the thing is the lack of venues. And when we were still coming up, there were tons of venues. You could play 5 nights a week in a different venue every night. And have an audience. There were people around. People were going out. Which is not happening anymore. That's just, I don't know if it's people aren't into live music. I'm not too sure what the thing is. And the funny thing is, as soon as they can watch a good live band, they get blown away because they've never felt the power of a drum kit hitting them in front, and seen the energy coming off a bass player. And they're just used to listening to stuff on headphones and going to like a club or something like that. But they've never seen the pure, like what comes off a stage.
The energy.
Until they've been put into that situation. Hopefully it's not a terrible sounding band, the first experience of music. That might put them off too, you know what I mean?
But usually the opening band for any act is not the greatest.
100%. But even if you're just going to a local venue, you know what I mean? I think that's what is kind of, I don't know, just needs to draw people back on a ground roots level, you know what I mean? Like where people go, I want to go watch live music, not want to go to a dance club, you
But
know?
it could also be, a culture thing. Knowing, growing up in the music industry as well. I don't know if it's with us where bands, it's more like a competition thing than like really like a music. I don't know if the like whole battle of the bands thing.
I've never entered one battle of the bands. I've always been, I'm against it. I don't think it should be a competition.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I mean. So, and I think that kind of changed the mentality to, as opposed to just supporting each other, it's been like, who's the best, who's going to win?
Because back in, like when we were still coming up in that, especially during the circuit, we would all the bands would like end up at wherever the town was we were playing, but as a city, we'd all end up in, after everyone's done their gigs now, 12 o'clock, at 2 o'clock, you'd like rock up at a venue where all the musos would get on another stage and jam until sunlight, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we were all mates, and just like there was like a very different vibe in music, talking about 15, 20, like 25 years ago, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean...
so a lot has changed in the past.
Yeah, I tend to see a bit of like, stuff going on. It looks like
social media.
Yeah, that's it's a good thing, and a bad thing. Also become an Achilles heel to a lot of people. I think they shoot themselves in the foot sometimes.
Yeah. All right. And playing, so then you were in Me and Mr. Mustard, and I remember you guys had a huge hit back then, Buttercup.
Yeah, we did a cover. We were playing at a place called Tovies, and Mark Pilgrim, he was the DJ on Radio 5 or 5FM. And he said, guys, you got to record the song, got to record it, it's going to be huge. We said, no, we don't want to record a cover as onto one of our albums,
Yeah.
And we did, and it like made us a household name.
Yeah.
So
I remember the first time I heard of Me and Mr. Mustard, was Buttercup.
Yeah.
There was a few other songs as well, but I mean...
Yeah, but that was the stick out. Yeah,
they
that
were
really
played on
stood out.
every radio station, from Jacaranda to...
Yeah, it went all
everything.
over. Yeah, so we were very lucky and very fortunate to have had that song, because it opened a lot of doors.
Yeah.
And it's, including the recording side, because I've always been into recording from our very first album. I mean, I was just fascinated about
that's my next question, is like, so from now playing in a band, singing, playing guitar, how did this happen? When did you start producing and engineering?
When we did our first album with Gresham, Brian O'Shea produced that album, and I was just fascinated the way he would take a song and then just change it up, and the way we went through the process of recording back, and it was still to tape then. So a tape machine would, if you wanted to have more channels, you had to hook up another tape machine. It wasn't like on computers.
You had X amount of tracks.
Yeah,
if you wanted more, get another one.
Yeah, and then dump stuff down, and it was a different way of recording them. But I mean, I wasn't like totally into it yet. I was just like fascinated by it. But I mean, and all I wanted was to get a Pentium 4 computer.
Legit, yeah.
Yeah, so I could get so I could start recording digitally, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And what was your first sound card, do you remember?
My first sound card was an Aardvark, just a 2-in, 2-out,
Yeah.
And onto a little, and it was an AMD computer. I managed to finally get an AMD computer when I could afford it after we made first little bit of money out of mustard, Yeah, I got my first computer, and that was the start of it. And then the disease, that buying gear and
building up.
Yeah, it just doesn't, and it never leaves you, Yeah. And you always think it's the gear, you think it's the gear that's going to make things better, but it's actually
never the gear.
It's never the gear. Yeah, the gear can help. Yeah,
yes, to a point. Yeah.
But and I've learned it in such a way that I've spent money on something, and I've used a very cheap version of the same thing, and it was maybe there's something wrong with my ears, but I just cannot. I can't hear. Yeah, maybe my ears just aren't that trained. You know what I mean? Yeah. But if it's hard for me to tell the difference, the listeners not really going to be able to tell the difference.
Because you're actually trying to hear.
Yeah, I'm really trying to, and it's on a single source. It's not like it's in a mix or anything. This is just a single source.
I remember when they just, I think when Avid or DigiDesign back in the day, when they first released the 192, the 192 IO.
Yeah.
And we got one at the studio where I was working at the time. And this is also way back like 2003, 2004. Sure. and we were A-Bing between now, what's the difference between 96 kilohertz
Yeah,
and
my word.
192, and if we could hear the difference. And we
Yeah.
were all like,
Yeah, that's it. But at least you're a 400. I mean, and like when that first came out, digital was still early days. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
totally.
And the guys were, and before that they were recording to ADAT.
Mm.
You know, I mean, if you think about like Brothers in Arms, that was one of the first digital recordings. You know,
Yeah.
Dire Straits. You wouldn't say so if you
Listen
think
to
back
it,
at it. Yeah, it sounds amazing. You know,
Mm.
but yeah, it's amazing how like, and you were lucky enough to like have work in 112.
I was luckily when I got into recording, I started working at Maranatha Record Company in Pretoria,
Yes.
which was the biggest recording, or the biggest Christian recording
Yeah.
label in the Southern Hemisphere, and
Wow.
also one of the biggest recording studios. And the year that I started was the year they got rid of all the tape machines and went digital. So I never worked on tape.
Well,
So
it's a blessing
it
and a disguise. You know, you
Yeah.
can't say you miss anything. You know what
Exactly,
I mean? That's
yeah.
how the good old days with tape.
Yeah.
Because you know you've always made it work in digital.
Yeah,
You know, so, I
and
mean,
now with tape emulation, like it's not like I'm looking for something. It's I'm just changing the sound. It's
Yeah.
not like I want that tape sound.
look,
'cause I've
there's going to
never-
be guys who've always been used to tape who are going to tell you straight away. You know,
Yeah,
and yet again, I wonder. You know, can
Yeah.
you?
Can you really?
Will they really? I don't know. I mean, I'm just busking. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
just bust my way through
Does
it.
it sound good? Yes.
Yes, I mean for me, and obviously my clients have got to. I want my clients to be totally like 100%
yeah.
happy with the finished product. You know, it's not. It's not. I'll never work in a way of when I'm happy and then, you know, whatever you think is just tough luck.
Yeah.
You know.
I know better. Shut up.
Yeah, no, it's never going to be the client when they are happy. That is it. But I mean, I'll obviously wanted to get it sounding as good as I can get it.
Yeah.
For me
But-
too.
But let's be honest, there must have been some times when the client told you to like add more
Oh,
reverb,
my
add
goodness.
more reverb, and you act like you're acting more reverb, and they're like, "Oh, that's great." And you
No, I've
didn't do
never
a thing.
done that. I've always been the fool who actually did it, and then 10 mixes down the line,
You realize that it should have been.
yeah, they want it back down again. You know what I mean? And once you've done all those different revisions of the mixes and each move they make, you do one little move, the next thing it sets everything else up. You know,
it
it
changes
makes
everything.
yeah, everything else changes.
Well, this brings me now. I'm going to jump now to the next question. So you got into recording, like when did you decide that you are actually going to start recording other people? So now you've like obviously with me and Mr. Mus and your stuff, like what was that stepping stone? Deciding okay, cool. You know what? Let me try and record someone else's music for them.
I remember very clearly. It was a guy called Erwald. He's called Volt.
Vault, yes, I know.
Yeah, he was my first victim.
Oh, you see, Vault, if you're watching this, sorry, man.
Yeah. No, but he knew exactly. He knew
No, but his
exactly what
album, was it his first album with
That
Vault?
did well. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great album. I remember.
Yeah, and that was we busked our way through things there, but
Yeah.
you know, it was like taking chances. It was just, does this sound good? Oh, let's keep going. And
Like
we-
getting in and let's
yeah,
see
we
what happens.
took a long time. I mean, so I knew what was kind of happening. You know what I mean? I didn't know exactly what I wanted to hear yet.
I'm going to tag Advalt in this, so yes.
Please do. Yeah, no, he's fantastic, and he's such a great songwriter. You know,
Yeah.
it was so nice to work with great songs because that was everything.
Yeah.
You know, the songs are everything.
Well, that's the thing I think as a producer. I mean, that makes life so much easier
Yeah.
when you have someone that's actually written.
If
decent
it's
song.
a beautiful song, you got such a great palette to start off. You know,
Yeah.
you can go in so many different ways. But
Yeah.
if you get a song that's not as great, yeah, you just have to try and you're always trying to find other elements to try and make people latch onto it, or in your mind.
Yeah.
I mean, not that your mind. I'm not saying I know it's going to be right. There's been times where I'm sure everybody you think, no, there's no way this is going to work, and it actually does work. You know?
All right, but and then so with
With Advalt, yeah.
and then from there, how did
So we did that, and that got some traction. And then I did Lindsay McGuire's album.
I remember Lindsay McGuire as
And
well.
then we had about 3 number ones and 5 with that.
Yeah.
So that was about my second or third project in.
Yeah.
So it was like I hit the ground running. You know,
Yeah.
whoa, so that
Best
what
way
I'm
to
doing.
do it.
Yeah, had one Mark preamp. You know,
What preamp was it? Do you
it was
remember?
the UAD, the one with the it had like a 1176 type compressor.
11. Is it? What's it? The the Mark II, something like that.
Yes, something like that. Yeah.
LA610 Mark II.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly. And I should never have got rid of it.
I still have one.
I should never have got rid of it.
That's actually the only pre I have left in my studio.
Is it?
Yeah, I've got that, and it's great.
It's flipping awesome.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's all Anton's fault from Music Connection.
Yes,
because
Anton, I'm going to tag you as well.
Yes. Because I mean, you could always you always see the shiny little new toys,
Yeah.
at the shops, and then they think, I've had this thing for so long. Let me try something new.
Yeah, and then Anton's like, appro it, and then
Yeah.
you have to pay for it because you use it.
No, but Anton always made a plan for me. But then I got rid of that, and I shouldn't have got rid of that.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the things I should never have got rid of was Focusrite Voice Master Pro. I don't even remember that little channel strip.
Like a white.
Yes, it had like a whitish, silvery kind of just a 1U
Yeah.
channel strip. And this thing was amazing. I mean, I think Marius Pro still has one.
Yeah.
It's great. If I think back on the sound now, I got such great vocal sounds out of that thing,
Yeah.
and acoustic guitar sounds.
Yeah.
And I had a terrible acoustic guitar at that point. Trying to, wouldn't stay in key, you have to tune up for the next chord,
Yeah.
and go and lay it like that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Right. And then, so studio, so now, I mean, you've now built up, from one preamp to one microphone to, tell us about your studio. What's your favorite gear, currently, what pre's are you using now? What's your favorite microphone for recording vocals, guitar?
Well, vocals, I go through different phases. I mean, I really, the one that's always actually got it as a gift from Mr. Kurt Slubbert is an original 70s U87,
Yeah,
it's great Neumann and
legendary mic.
Yeah, it's a beautiful microphone. But I mean, and then I love the Warm Audio mics. They've got a U47 that they've just made a reissue of, and the people will knock that stuff, but I don't care. It works and sounds great to me.
I had a conversation with someone this week about, literally about now Warm Audio that's kind of
copying
all of the...
I love the LA2A and the 1176. That is amazing. You know what I mean? I've had the Yuri ones, and once again, maybe it's just my ears that I just can't hear those. I can't hear those subtleties that other people can hear. And then the Apollo, the UAD stuff, which is really also amazing. And
I know you've been using Universal Audio stuff for quite a while.
Oh, one of the
Apollos and stuff.
I've had the UAD stuff, but I've also, most of the time I've been using the PreSonus stuff. I've been a big user of PreSonus gear after trying actually I had my Prism Orpheuses at that time as sound cards.
Yeah.
And which
are also quite legendary.
Yeah, they are hectic mic converters, and had nice mic pre's built in, but I had my externals. And I remember doing tracking drums, and I thought, let me just try with this, just do an 8-channel recording of a kit, like with this PreSonus Fire Studio, which I've still got down there. And I couldn't believe the sound that I got from the PreSonus. It was like fat, and maybe it was just going through all these other different preamps and then into the Prism.
Changed the sound, and that was just what you wanted to hear,
Yeah, but going straight into the PreSonus and everything just sounded fat. I thought, my goodness, this is incredible. And I've just loved this stuff from then on, So now I've got like
a rack of PreSonus gear.
There's 64 channels going in there, but the PreSonus stuff. And then I've got this beautiful little twin here for.
So is that currently your main converter, or
this at the moment? Yeah, this is at the moment for now. I always
for now.
I always keep going back to my PreSonus stuff. I've still got some other racks packed away of other.
Just in case.
People think I'm crazy, or think, hey, PreSonus is entry level stuff. Maybe,
Yeah.
But compared to a lot of the higher end stuff, yes, it is. But it still sounds great to me.
But again, technology, think about it. Maybe 20 years ago, but these days, I've got this viewpoint that with technology, I mean, at the point now,
I agree with you.
It's like whether you'd go with like entry level stuff or the the heavy, expensive stuff.
Yeah.
Especially when it gets to microphone pre's, you know, it's like it's the same thing. Technology, I think, has brought those worlds so
very close
to each other. Yes, you know, the higher end pre's and all of that, you know, and converters do sound better.
Yeah, look, in the hands of somebody who knows exactly how to use them. Yeah.
So, but
and then the same will work the other way around. You know, if you don't know exactly what you're looking for in a sound, you know, whether mic pre or whatever. You're not really going to know the difference between the subtleties between a germanium preamp or something like that's modeled off the 1073 or something like that. You know,
people starting out, that, unless you've ever worked with it, you know.
And they're going to put something on they're going to put a microphone up on an instrument. Okay, that doesn't sound great, or it does sound great, and capture something, and then you're going to get a guy who's been used to recording the most high end through the most high end gear, who's not going to be able to get that cool sound that guy with the cheap gear happen to get, you know what I mean?
Totally.
I mean, there's been albums done on the O2R, you know, the original O2R, you know? I mean, a great album by, was it James Taylor, you know? Recorded like in a villa, straight through the O2R, you know, like onto that. I think it was onto ADAT. I don't even think he recorded the tape.
Yeah, so I think that basically tells us, you know, it's not necessarily the gear, but, you know, in the hands of who uses it.
Look at like the weird stuff that Sylvia Massey did, you know, like with the bands, like with Tool, and like the way she recorded her weird.
Completely different.
Like if you think about her approach to recording and the way she captures drums and stuff like that.
I remember, with Tool, I think it was the 10,000 something, or I can't remember what the album was called. But I remember Josh Freese, the drummer, had this like weird drum sound on one song, and it kept building up. The first album I ever produced myself, I remember going to Bruce Wallace's studio, and I told him, you know, like, listen, like, I want you to play on the wall for the first section of the song, and then for the next section of the song, I want you to hit the cymbal stands and that type of thing, you know, and from there we'll go to a snare, and then we'll go
trying all weird stuff.
All of that weird stuff, and I think Bruce back in the day thought like, wow, DL's a genius. But meantime, I was just like copying, you know, what I mean. These people like Sylvia Massey were doing, like just thinking out of the box, you know.
But just trying. The way she says it. I mean, she says that recording should be an experience, you know. Yeah. Where you're trying different things. But you know what's become a bit of an issue. Oh my goodness, Eskom.
That's fine.
You know, is budget. It's all time. You know, you've got to try and think of working quickly, you know, because you're only getting paid a certain amount of money. Yeah. And it is our living. So, I mean, we have to kind of
pay the salary, put food on the table.
Yeah. So, you try and look for the quickest way to get there now, you know, whereas back with them, they
spend months.
They get better budgets, so they still have deadlines, but they have a much longer time between they can
and
work.
And a much bigger budget,
Yeah, so it makes it worth it that they can experiment a bit and that kind of stuff. These days, we tend to go for things we've picked up along the way instead of, I wish I did have time to experiment a bit more with weirder sounds and
or trying 10 different snares and deciding which is the best for the song, not going for
the one that you know that kind of works. You know, it's crazy, and that's one of the things I think we've lost the luxury of.
Yeah,
if you know, as especially look, I think starting out and you aren't totally reliant, and you have a bit of, if you don't have too many responsibilities, I think you can still
mess around
a bit and try and get your own sound and stuff like that.
Well, I think when you're at the point where you're still not, you know, relying on making money from it, like if you can just mess around.
I agree 100%. Yeah, then you don't have at the back of your mind, I've got to get this thing done. You got to, you know, like at this point, it's wake up, go through your normal routine, and just bang it, try and get it done, you know?
Yeah, go away from the sausage machine and actually...
Yeah, no, that must be amazing.
Create,
you know, now and again, I do get a chance to actually...
do that,
just mess around, you know, and
that's one of the coolest things,
and that is also... that you love that song of the album. The general public don't really pick up on that stuff, you know.
But you dig it because you know
what went into it, you know. And that artist also digs it because they also know what went into it.
The experience of recording as opposed to the...
Yeah, so that album becomes a bit more special to the artist as well.
Definitely.
So I think there's lots of different challenges that audio engineers and producers face these days, you know. I mean, if you think about the turnaround time that the ex-overseas do, I mean, these guys, you know, they've got teams of writers, they've
Teams
got
of engineers.
teams of engineers. They've got somebody who just does drum programming. Somebody will be a specific job for each person.
Arranging,
you know?
backing vocals.
And
That's one person's job.
That's one person's job.
Whereas
yeah.
here, you as producer have to
Yeah.
write the drum parts, figure out the guitar
Yeah,
parts,
that's
do
it.
the backing vocals,
Yeah,
everything. And
you
mix
gotta-
and master it. at
yeah,
one
you
point,
got to.
like,
Yeah, and this is budget to send it overseas, you know,
yeah,
which is always a serious luxury
yeah,
if you
definitely,
can.
yeah.
Because I mean, those guys know what they're doing, you know.
Yeah.
They
But also, what I think is again, it's a thing. Whereas a South African culture, Bruce and I spoke about it the other day, is that in South African culture we are so, you know, pushed for time and pushed for budget that we don't experiment more in studio. Whereas,
Yeah.
so we've got this very, like, what's the word, conservative way of working, you know.
Yeah.
So we don't have that. Whereas what I feel is like when the last album that I worked on, we sent, you know, to Australia to get mastered, and the sound that we got back, you know, was not, I can't say it was, you know, better than what we get from the local people, but
Yeah.
it was bigger, it was better.
I
it was
just
like,
find the stuff that I've sent over just comes back deeper low end.
yeah,
It's just kind of just tighter than that I've managed to get on my own or send it to.
someone near,
Yeah, and there's
But-
nothing wrong with the guys there. They get great
Yeah.
mastering, you know.
But that's what I think is like they like the conservative. You like we play it.
Yeah,
safe.
they'll push it. Yeah,
Yeah,
they'll
well,
push.
they don't care. They
Yeah.
don't know you. They like this. It needs to sound better. I'm going to crank it. Whereas
That's it,
you
yeah.
know, where with like not to is like with. I mean, I know for me as well. You know, sometimes when I do
Yeah.
something for radio, I'll play it very conservative. Watch out! Don't make
Yeah.
the drums too loud. Don't make
Yeah.
it. You know, whereas they're like, what?
Just
It needs
they-
to be
they
better.
Snap, yeah, just clap
Yeah.
that snare up there, you know.
Need more bass.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
When I listen to some of the modern like the newer, even the pop stuff, there's got a lot of acoustic instruments. The sound is massive,
Yeah.
and you wonder, jeepers,
How did that happen?
I wouldn't have gone and did that much, you know. Like
Hmm.
put this much, like I don't know what they're doing to it to make it that big, but I
Yeah.
mean they're obviously pushing something. I don't know if it's
Some-
going in or if it's in the mix, you
Yeah.
know.
But see, that's something that we have to.
Yeah, to find, you know.
The trick of the trade.
Yeah, look, I think we've all been like just pushing it ourselves a little bit more.
Mm.
And it's, look, I think the internet's also helping a lot now because now
Totally,
we've got
yeah.
somebody to learn from. I
Yeah.
mean, in the past, we never had people to ask questions.
You
And,
could only learn from the local people. Now you can go online
and not only that, the local guys would keep all their little secrets to themselves. They wouldn't want to share anything because
yeah,
then it
it's
meant,
their sound.
yeah, it's their sound. So, I
Yeah.
mean, and just like one small thing of when people were talking about, yeah, they use distortion in mixing. I never understood that in the beginning, you know.
Yeah.
I thought, no, I mean, but I don't
What
hear
you
any
talk about?
distortion,
Yeah.
you know, on a vocal or on the drums or anything. Unless, I'm not talking about like when you really
Yeah.
hit overdriving or whatever.
Just a little bit of
But
saturation.
just what saturation can actually do to a sound, you know, how it makes it thicker, you know.
Yeah. I remember the first time, like, when I read somewhere that to get your bass still as fat in the mix,
Yeah.
but just to cut through a little bit more, you know, just to add a bit of distortion. I was like, what are you on
Yeah.
about? And I remember clearly duplicating the track in Pro Tools,
Yeah.
adding like a distortion plugin on, and then putting it on. I was like, what
Yeah.
just happened? You
I
know,
know.
suddenly the bass isn't overpowering, but now it's
can
like
hear it.
I can hear it. you
Yeah.
know. That was
But that's the thing, and then it's just learning those little tricks. I remember trying to buy books from overseas, you know, like what the engineer's handbook, and like there were quite a few at that time.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, if there's so much content on the net.
yeah,
I mean, Pensada's place, for anybody that's looking for great info, Pensada's
Yeah.
place is flipping
Amazing.
Listening to all the top
Yeah.
guys talk, you know.
yeah.
I mean, and the little gold nuggets they keep dropping around are
yeah.
just incredible, you know.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I want to ask you, so like before wrapping up, highlights and lowlights in your
Whoa.
career.
In my career as
Yeah,
as
like-
what, in studio or live? Or
Let's say studio.
Okay,
So
studio.
like, what was like one of the worst moments, or like one of these moments you thought, what just happened? You know, what is like a low light? Like, what stands out for you?
well, I think I mentioned it before we started recording. Wasn't really a lot. I've never really had really terrible experiences in the studio. I've been very lucky with the people I've managed to work with.
Yeah.
So but just like one of the little things of recording, and the band had left and they only had a limited time. They went from town, so they'd flown in to record, and I'd only recorded the room mic instead of the 2 main mics.
Yeah.
And I've had a worker that I didn't know how to tell them that.
Yeah.
They're still not
But
gonna
luckily it
and
worked.
they're not going to know who they are.
Yeah.
You're never going to know.
Yeah.
And my highlight was obviously winning a Sama and
Yeah, I've
getting
seen your
nominated,
Salma. I
you know?
wanted to ask you, I see the Salma over there.
Yeah, and the one broke and they didn't make them properly.
Oh,
I
you
mean,
see.
and I didn't even knock it over. Just like I picked it up, the one didn't move and the top fell off.
So what did you win Salmas for? What were those?
There was
so there are 2. So which are they?
That was the silver one. There was back in '95 or '96 for best song of the year with Me and Mr. Mustard, and the other one is best engineer for the Blackbird album. I was also nominated for best producer that year, but I can't remember who won that. Jack Radix won that. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, that was my highlight. I mean, just to finally get recognized, just for a little.
Recognized for what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, and
because we also spoke about it before we started recording, and as the thing is, you always see the artist, but you never see the producer, the engineer, the guy actually.
It's just that other work, but just to know that what you're doing isn't worthless. You know what I mean?
That somebody's out there is actually listening to what
you're
making.
Yeah, it's just like a small thing. It's not a big, huge deal, but it's just a sign of recognition.
Yeah.
And that was, I mean, every single day I'm blessed to be doing what I'm doing. I'm absolutely blessed. You know, all of us are. If we're doing something we love, and to be doing music and doing it as a living.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think there's statistics that say if you earn a living from making music, I think 5% of all musicians on the planet actually get to make money from that.
My word.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, look, it's every day, give thanks to God for that. I mean,
definitely
to be able to do this and
and work in such a lack of studio, so it's
it's
been built up over years.
Oh yeah, it has, eh? It's been expanding.
Yeah.
Started off in a small room and then built on,
Yeah. Oh, awesome. And if to wrap up, if there's any tips or you would give for future engineers or producers out there, that are kind of watching this now that want to get into music production, sound engineering, that type of thing. What advice would you be able to?
I would just say, get a laptop, little 2x2 sound card, little controller, mic, and just record everything you can. All your buddies, record all your buds. Just offer to record for nothing, just to record.
Because every time you record something new, it'll be better.
100%, and you're going to be learning, and you don't want to charge them from
day one.
You just want to just do things to get experience and then learn what's working, how to mark up a drum kit properly for yourself. I mean, you can watch stuff we all have watched stuff on YouTube
and everything.
You can try it out and it flops,
Totally. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but how I learned how to mic up a drum kit. Obviously, I studied sound engineering. There's a year course in it, way back in that at Allenby when it was still. And then when I started working at Maranatha Record Company as an intern, so Louis Langerman was still the engineer back then, and I was working in Studio B, and I was only allowed to record vocals. That's all I would do, and make coffee and clean the studio for months. And then the day that I went to Lou and I was like, listen, I want to really get into recording drums now as well. I said, okay, cool, go mic up the drum kit, and then we'll see what it sounds like. So I'd mic up the drum kit, and we'd record what it sounds like, and it would go back into the booth, and it said the hi-hat sounds cool, the kick sounds okay, the rest sounds crap. And I'm but why does it sound crap? I was like, well, go move the microphones around, go figure out for yourself.
Didn't he give you any pointers?
None. Then you walk back in and you move the microphone, we'd go back into the booth, and it's like, okay, the snare sounds okay, but the toms still sound crap. I'm like, but what must I do? No.
Sure, that's great, eh?
So
that's so good, eh?
But I mean, and that's what I think, I totally agree with you. Just record stuff, record an acoustic guitar today, go listen to it, and try to improve on it.
But I mean, you're very fortunate to have somebody there to to been that looking over your shoulder and say, listen,
Yeah.
try that. You can get it better than that. You can get it better.
Yeah, like
you know.
Louis Langerman wasn't like his exact words. It doesn't sound crap. It was a couple of like a.
Oh, is it? Eh?
Yeah. So
A bit more colourful.
Colourful, very colourful, and it was like, and then you just figure it out for yourself. But I mean, that's like we spoke earlier. Jumping into the deep end is the
you're
best
right.
way to learn.
It is. I mean, you're gonna figure things out pretty quickly when you've got a client who's paying.
Exactly.
You know?
And you have to make it work.
Yes, I mean, the more experience you can just get messing around with whatever microphones you can get hold of, you just use the onboard pre's on an interface, you know.
Yeah.
You can get great sounds with it, you know. You can get great sounds, and the manipulation you can do afterwards in your DAW is, you know, endless, you know.
Yeah.
You really, I mean, these days, you got so many toys to play with, you
Totally,
know?
yeah.
And even the free plugins are amazing, you know?
Totally.
Just the stuff that comes with the DAW and the third-party free plugins are fantastic these days.
Mark, if people want to get hold of you or chat with you more about producing, or want you to get you as a producer on the album, how do they get hold of you?
Unfortunately, only on Facebook at the moment. I've still got to work on my social media.
All right.
You know?
So, but we'll put your Facebook link in the description.
And my email. They can just email me. But
right.
yeah.
What's your email address for people?
My email address is markbeling, MARKBELING @gmail.com.
All right, we'll put that in the description.
I'm gonna get a website soon, and just get myself up to scratch as far as that goes. Luckily enough, I've been very fortunate up to now. For now.
All right, so markbeling @gmail.com and your Facebook page. So for people to
just
contact
Mark
you.
Beling, yes. Yeah.
Mark, thanks so much for allowing us into your studio.
Thank
it's
you,
been
my bad.
a blast. Guys, if you want to learn more about Mark, go check out his send him an email, definitely do. Go check out his Facebook page, you know, and if you're not doing anything in the evenings, I know Mark, you gig still often.
Yeah,
so
I do.
check out Facebook. He puts his gigs on there all the time. And thanks for watching. See you next week.